that were still in Hamas's captivity and hands will be handed over to their families and to their loved ones here in Israel, something that they have stressed is just as important as bringing home the live hostages. But we have confirmed all 20 live hostages have now been handed over to the Israeli Defense Forces, and marking a pivotal moment in a ceasefire that the president confirmed had been brokered last Thursday. And now here we are on Monday morning, and we have seen these 20 live hostages handed over and returned to Israeli soil. We're waiting for all that to be finalized as we are seeing what their condition is and what this looks like. CNN's Clarissa Ward is in hostages by Hamas and handed over to the Red Cross and then eventually to the IDF. You've been hearing cheers there in Hostages Square from all the people who've been gathered for hours and waiting for this moment.
That's right, Caitlin. Some of them have been here since 4 and 5 in the morning. And as you mentioned, every single time news comes, the hostages have been handed over to the International Red Cross. The hostages have been handed over now to the IDF. The hostages are now back in Israel for 7 days. Many of the people who are here today have been coming to this square every single.
Thank you, Marianne Rafferty. President Trump is entering the Knesset building. Heavy, hearty handshakes. There he's greeting Steve Witkoff. I believe that was Steve Witkoff, who has been so very involved, the president's personal envoy, in making this day happen. Benjamin Netanyahu now, a handshake and a smile between those two. There have been some tense exchanges between them. President Trump was not happy that the Israelis launched an attack in Qatar, which took out much of the Hamas leadership. And the Israelis defended that, said it was necessary. And perhaps it's part of what led us to this day, a day that the Israeli hostages finally are being released. President Trump will be speaking to the Israeli parliament. He's going to be signing one of the documents that attend to this day. But it's my understanding that this is not the peace deal.
It's not just to bring body, because the family need her in order to recover.
How old was your daughter?
27 years old.
Now that the living have been brought home, we must ensure the fallen are too. Only you can make sure no one is left behind.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you.
Sorry you had to go through it, but we're working very hard on that situation right there. I know exactly what you're talking about. Thank you very much.
I just want to say that today, to see everyone come back gives big closure. I just want all the deceased ones to come back as well. So we will all get our proper closure.
That's very nice.
Thank God, today we celebrate to see back the hostages. But on behalf of my son and other 915 soldiers that sacrificed themselves in order to get to that point, We have a request for
And ladies and gentlemen, overnight, everything changed. Everything.
We felt it right here.
Mr. President, thanks to your unequivocal backing of Israel, we secured a second hostage deal within weeks of your election. And in the months that followed, we worked closely together to forge a path to bring the remaining hostages home and end the war. End the war in a way that ensures the disarming of Hamas, the demilitarization of Gaza, and that Gaza would never again pose a threat to Israel. 2 months ago, you fully backed my decision to send the IDF into the last Hamas stronghold in Gaza City. You shared my view that this military pressure would help free the hostages. And despite of the world, behind your proposal to free the hostages and end the war. I want to thank Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Ron Dermer for their great contribution to this effort. And I want to thank our negotiating team. I believe that the close cooperation between the two of us, between our two...
imaginable against terrorists who send their own children to die for a follow-up, who use their own children as human shields. The truth is that a democratic state was attacked by a fanatical terrorist organization. 1,200 people were killed in one day, women were raped, babies were burned alive. And all the while, they played with your minds, selling you the absurd idea that supporting Islamic terror is somehow a liberal value. There is good and evil in this world. When you stand with Hamas, you stand with evil. When you stand with Hezbollah, you stand with evil. When you stand with the Iranian regime, you stand with evil. When you stand with Israel, you stand on the side of justice. Last week I attended the 7th October memorial ceremony. An inspirational woman called Galit Dan spoke on stage. Galit had a daughter, Noya, a 13-year-old girl who was autistic like my daughter. And Noya was full of light. She loved Harry Potter. On that dark day, Noya was sleeping at her grandmother's, Carmela's house in Kibbutz Nir Oz. Carmela was 80 years old. Their bodies, grandmother and granddaughter, were found embraced. They were murdered together. On stage at the ceremony, Galit said a sentence that moved us all. We don't want revenge, she said. We want redemption. Today, the redemption begins. Israel has endured 2 terrible years on the battlefield and in the international arena. But in those 2 years, we also rediscovered our own greatness.
For Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East. I want to express my gratitude to a man of exceptional courage and patriotism whose partnership did so much to make this momentous day possible. You know who I'm talking about. There's only one. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Bibi, please stand up. And he is not easy, I want to tell you. He's not the easiest guy to deal with. But that's what makes him great. That's what makes him great. Thank you very much, baby. Great job. And let me also convey my tremendous appreciation for all of the nations of the Arab and Muslim